All right, guys, so one of the areas of improvement that I was sure that Vice President Mike Pence would make over President Trump from the first debate is that Vice President Pence would ask direct questions and call out the hypocrisy of the Harris-Biden administration. Yes, I say Harris-Biden administration on purpose because that whole administration is basically shapeshifters. One day they're for, healthcare for all. One day they're not. One day they're for the Green New Deal. One day they're not. One day it's the Harris-Biden administration. One day it's the Biden-Harris administration. So they're just shape-shifting all over the place. Like, Ditto from Pokemon or something like that. But Vice President Pence did exactly what I thought he should do. He asked a direct question regarding what are you guys going to do? What is the plan? And my favorite moment of him doing that in this debate by far is him asking Kamala, what are you going to do when it comes to packing the court if the nomination does not go your way? But before we get into that, my name is Greg Foreman and you're watching A Black Conservative Perspective. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Most importantly, share A Black Conservative Perspective, aka a liberal's worst nightmare. Let's get into it. All right, so watch this clip from the debate of Vice President Pence asking Kamala Harris about whether or not she's going to pack the court.
When you speak about the Supreme Court, though, I think the American people really deserve an answer, Senator Harris. Are you and Joe Biden going to pack the court if Judge Amy Coney Barrett is confirmed? I mean, there have been 29 vacancies on the Supreme Court during presidential election years, from George Washington to Barack Obama. Presidents have nominated in all 29 cases. But your party is actually openly advocating adding seats to the Supreme Court, which has had 9 seats for 150 years, if you don't get your way. This is a classic case of if you can't win by the rules, you're going to change the rules. Now, you've refused to answer the question. Joe Biden has refused to answer the question. So I think the American people would really like to know, if Judge Amy Coney Barrett is confirmed at the Supreme Court of the United States, are you and Joe Biden, if somehow you win this election, going to pack the Supreme Court to get your way?
In 1864, one of the, I think, political heroes, certainly of the president, I assume of you also, Mr. Vice President, is Abraham Lincoln. Mm-hmm. Abraham Lincoln was up for re-election, and it was 27 days before the election, and a seat became open on the United States Supreme Court. Abraham Lincoln's party was in charge not only of the White House, but the Senate. But Honest Abe said it's not the right thing to do. The American people deserve to make the decision about who will be the next president of the United States, and then that person can select who will serve for a lifetime on the highest court of our land. And so Joe and I are very clear. The American people are voting right now, and it should be their decision about who will serve on this most important body for a lifetime.
Thank you, Senator Harris. People, Susan, are voting right now. They'd like to know if you and Joe Biden are going to pack the Supreme Court if you don't get your way in this nomination.
Let's talk about packing.
You once again gave a non-answer. Joe Biden gave a non-answer.
Trying to answer you
now.
The
American people deserve a straight answer. And if you haven't figured it out yet, the straight answer is they are going to pack the Supreme Court.
So the Trump-Pence administration has been, because I sit on the Senate Judiciary Committee, Susan, as you mentioned, and I've witnessed the appointments for lifetime appointments to the federal courts, district courts, courts of appeal. People who are purely ideological, people who have been reviewed by legal professional organizations and found to have been not competent, are substandard. And do you know that of the 50 people who President Trump appointed to the Court of Appeals for lifetime appointments, not one is black? This is what they've been doing. You want to talk about packing a court? Let's have that discussion.
All right, thank you, Senator. Let's go on and talk about the issue of racial justice.
I just want the record to reflect she never answered the question. So maybe in the next debate, Joe Biden will answer the question, but I think the American people know the answer.
Thank you, Vice.
So first of all, just like the Democrats love to do, they've been doing all night, Kamala did this all night, avoid answering the question. She goes on this diatribe about Abraham Lincoln and how he chose not to move forward with a nomination, and basically restating their opinion that the next president should make the nomination and to let the people decide, when back in 2016 President Obama nominated Merrick Garland despite the Republicans saying you should let the people decide. And it goes back to what President Trump was saying in the first debate, that I think he did a great job of making this point, is that you would do the exact same thing that we're doing because we've seen you guys do it back in 2016. We've seen it before. So don't sit here and try to act like you're above us and that you're really about the American people deciding the election, when we know from recent history that that's not true and that that's not the case. So I love the fact that Vice President Pence did not let her get away with his BS answer. So he reiterates, you're going to try to pack the court. That's why you're avoiding the answer. And then here comes Kamala coming in, pulling the race card, talking about how President Trump has not nominated any black people to the Court of Appeals. Again, completely irrelevant. And this is an example of how the victimhood mentality and the race card is weaponized by the Democrats in order to avoid answering any questions on what they're going to do, because they want you to feel bad and they want to play off your emotions when it comes to race. And this type of rhetoric is what actually divides us as people, because we can't focus on what you're going to do and what plans you have for America because you want us to boohoo and cry over a race issue that's not really an issue. You made it an issue. You had planned out before this debate that if you were asked about packing the court, which you knew you would be asked about it, that you was going to bring up some silly story about Abraham Lincoln. And if you were continue to be pressed about it, your nuke button was the race card. And this is not a good look for black politicians. It's not a good look, because everybody's going to look at this and see this as, well, you obviously didn't answer the question. And then you deflected on the question. And then you deflected on the question again. And then on the second deflection, you pulled a race card, which meant that you just refused to answer the question. Why should I vote for you if you're not even going to answer the questions about what you're going to do? It's very important for us to know, are you going to try to add more seats to the Supreme Court? Because like Vice President Mike Pence said, we've had 9 for over 150 years. What are you going to do? Because you've been asked about it before in the past, and she said that she would support packing the court in the past. She said she would be open to the idea.
So I will say that I am interested in having that conversation, and I'm open to this conversation about extending the number of people on the United States Supreme Court, about increasing the number of people in the United States Supreme Court.
So you need to be straightforward and honest and let us know, is this what you want to do? So when we go to the polls come November, we have an understanding of what you're going to do with the Supreme Court. That's very important. That's very, very, very important. But like I said, and like I will continue to say, Kamala Harris is very sneaky. And as President Trump would probably say, she's a nasty, 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 nasty woman. And above all of that, she is very dishonest and corrupt. And if you couldn't see that last night, I don't know what to tell you. You know, people cheering her on. Oh, you go, girl. Don't let that white man talk over you. You tell him. You show him. When really, I think it's funny. One of my friends had brought up that that Vice President Pence, I want to keep calling him President Pence because he was very presidential last night. But Vice President Pence is operating at a disadvantage because he probably can't say the things that he wants to say to her because she's a black/Indian woman. Because if he was to treat her the same way that she was treating him last night, I only can imagine what the media could say. Oh, he's a sexist. He's a bigot. He's racist. Look at him mansplaining, talking over a woman. So again, in my opinion, her pulling a race card is a sign of weakness. It's a sign that, like I've been telling people, the Democrats think you're too stupid and that it doesn't matter what policies they have for America. They don't feel like you should know what they are going to do because they feel like you should just vote against Trump. Their whole platform is orange man bad. They don't have any policies. They don't want to tell you their plan. They don't think you should know. They don't think you're entitled to know. And you want to talk about a potential dictatorship. You want to talk about people being dictators and fascists. The Biden-Harris administration not telling you what they want to do. to me is a very dangerous sign and very real sign that you could be signing up for a fascist / dictator regime. Because only a dictator would feel that they don't need to tell the people, the constituents, what they plan to do, and that what we do is right. It doesn't matter. We don't need to tell you. You should just vote for us anyways. You don't have a choice. And that's essentially what they're saying when they refuse to answer these questions. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.